Here we go. Live. And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because, oh my god, it is cold out there. We were just talking about that just before we got started over here, that it is colder out in the Midwest than it is right now over in the Buffalo market, and it's not looking real good over across the pond over in the UK right now. Part of this is follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble, and you can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. That's Shujin. My hat was not on straight, and I just realized that. Hi. So yeah, it's cold. We're not really happy about it, so we're gonna do this as best we can and hope, maybe just hope, that our individual computers are actually going to warm up our offices just enough to keep us from freezing right now. Speaking of which, in the Midwest of the U.S., Brigid Fitch is currently freezing her tulkas off because it's colder out there than it is over here. Hi.
Hi, I've got my little space heater on.
Yeah, I can't say something. What did I say it was? It was -8 over here in the Buffalo market, and you were saying it's in the negative teens.
Yeah, hold on just one second. It's supposed to get down to -17 tonight. It's -13 right now, so
It's just various degrees of hurt now.
yep.
It really much matters. And yeah, did take a look over at the UK because and it's hovering close to that magic zero number, which sucks. So be careful out there. So yeah, hi everybody. It's good to be with you again. It's been an interesting um it's been an interesting week. So, we'll kind of keep that in mind. Please be careful, please be safe wherever the hell you are. By the way, if you decide that you want to join us as we're recording live, which we try to do every week, give or take, join us over there in the live chat. Stephanie, yes, was looking up the numbers for you. I think it was, what did I say? I thought it was 4.
Or
Yeah, 4 with wind. So good on you there. Good luck. Fearless, hi, good evening. Yeah, it's pretty cold out your way too. 33 Fahrenheit over there. So 1? Yeah, just barely 1 Celsius, if even close to that. I don't think the rounding really matters at that point, whatever it is. So yeah, we're very much not looking forward to the temperatures because it's been nasty. And over here in the Buffalo market, we had a couple of days of lake effect snow and cold that just, we I didn't do work because I couldn't get into work. Not because of any problem on my side, but other than the fact that the lake effect snow came dumping in, and several towns said, yeah, you're not allowed to come driving here for the time being. So there you go. I got part of the way to work and then turned around because I'm looking around. And I'm like, where's the traffic? Oh, there's a travel ban. So I went home. So that was all fun. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put it out there, and I'm pretty sure that Brigid's gonna agree with me on this one. When a company has to close because of weather, I really do truly believe that the staff should be compensated for the time that they would have otherwise been working. You know?
yeah,
I mean, here in New York, if you're scheduled to work and you come in and it's so, it's so dead that you're basically sent home, you have to be paid for at least 4 hours out of an 8 hour day. So, of course they'll keep you for the 4 hours because, I mean, eh. But I really do think that in situations like this where it's, not your fault, it's not the company's fault, but I mean, you scheduled people to come in. They were ready to come in. It's somebody should be footing the bill for that. But what do I know? Anyhow, there's a little bit of a contention going on right about now. I have the last bottle that's over here in the office for me, which is a little bottle of Maker's Mark. There is some ideas about this because me, I was just like, you know what, I've got this to try out, so I've got this. And Brigid is very much of the opinion, you probably don't want to do that. Go ahead, tell him what you told me.
Paint thinner.
Yeah, yeah. She asked me, "You got anything to mix that with?" No. So I'm kind of not sure when we. I mean, I've tried the other ones. Uh, I've tried the other ones straight, and I think Southern Comfort was the only one that I actually got like Coke for in particular. I'm pretty sure
No,
that
you
was the
got
one.
you got Coke for something else.
Was the Crown Royal maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah. Eh. Oh well, you know what? I
screw it.
I'm not too worried about it. I mean, if it's gonna be paint thinner, it's gonna be paint thinner. It's is the way that it's gonna be because I mean, now see, now this is the thing that I have to worry about because oh, there's a little. Is there a little tab to pull? Here I am. I'm ready to I'm ready to try to cut through the wax. Oh, and there is a little thing so you don't have to go cutting your fingers up. Isn't that nice of them? Guess I'll just put this little knife away now. Good idea on my part. Oh, you lift the lid off of it and um there is a little screw top. Good. That's kind of what I was hoping for. It was also a red that was blending into the red of the top, so I wasn't sure what to think of that. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it's smelling a little bit like paint thinner, which is not a surprise, but at the same time, it's oddly disappointing. Anyway, let's see. Stephanie's was always paid when weather stopped me getting to work. If only it were that simple. We're here. But then again, we've also got this small thing here in the United States where companies can pretty well, treat people like, uh, well, I was gonna say like dirt, but at least dirt is like necessary for a lot of things. So I don't know, is what it is. So I guess down the hatch and we see what happens. Oh yeah, this is gonna be hurtful. Yeah, this is gonna be hurtful. Whose stupid idea was this anyway? Come,
That's not the one that I voted on, remember?
yeah, I know. I do still have Jägermeister. I still have a thing of Jägermeister in the kitchen. So again, another little one. So kampai, suppose. Well, I will give it this. It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt, not like some of the other ones did in my face. It's not great, and it is definitely getting that warm going down the gullet, which I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing. But you know what? Okay, I've tried it. I don't know how much this was. You know what? If that was basically a shot, I could do a shot of that. Again, I don't know that I would necessarily choose to, but it doesn't hurt nearly as much as the other stuff did. So Southern Comfort and Jameson, yeah, those were the ones that actually hurt. So that's something at least. Stephanie, that attitude is spreading to the UK, but I have hopes Labour get in and follow the EU in banning such practices. That's that. Let's hope. Let's hope, because, maybe one of these days they'll actually be nice and kind of do the same kind of thing over here. One of these days. I can dream. I can dream. Either as it may, let's go ahead and get into stuff, because it's, unless somebody else ends up showing up from the group, it's probably going to be a short night, which nothing wrong with that. We'll just have to see how that plays. So, with 5 minutes on the clock, let me go ahead and give you this. Your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. RUOK. Yeah, I know. You look at it and you're like, okay, what the hell is that word? Is that some kind of word that I don't recognize? Is it? Are you okay? Well, see, this gets a little bit more fun, because if you look at the show notes, see that there are a couple of listings over there about Oklahoma, and some moron who's decided that they're going to introduce legislation about kids. Very specifically about kids in school doing the furry thing. Identifying as other than human. And doing, although he didn't use the word, because I don't think that he knows the word, anthropomorphic stuff. And taking them out of school in order to no longer have them being a disruption to the rest of the kids. And have the parents come out to do that. And if the parents don't, to have animal control do it. Well, where this gets to be fun for me, and by fun, I mean I have some choice words that I'm not going to use, because this isn't a Power of 10 episode. That'll be for next week. This guy. This guy. First off, the legislation that he drafted covered literally 2 pages of that legalese type out kind of thing. It was not exactly comprehensive, shall we say. It was not well researched. It was not well spoken. It was not well explained. It also was apparently supposed to be facetious to a certain degree, although I don't believe that he actually used that word in the interviews. I don't believe that he knows the word. Yeah, when he was interviewed by the local news groups, the news stations, he backpedaled. He backpedaled really, 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 really hard, saying that the whole thing about having animal control to get the kids was just, he was joking. He was just JK, just kidding, just joking, just joshing, just funny, being funny. No, you don't write jokes into legislation. You just don't. Just don't. Now, I say that knowing full well that at the college town I went to, that there was something on the books that said that it was illegal for a man to kiss a woman in the town gazebo on a Sunday if she's wearing a red dress. I know that one. And yes, that was a thing. Yeah, there are all these weird little stories of joke laws that are put on the books, like you're not allowed to walk backwards down Main Street at noon with an ice cream in your pocket, or some such BS like that. Things that are at their face absolutely ridiculous. But to go ahead and do this thing, that's not funny. It's not funny. Especially considering this is a guy that tried to legislate days where hunting for Bigfoot was actually legal. So he's interviewed by the news organizations, local, and he says, "No, it's just trying to be funny about it." I don't get these people, really don't. And I say, are you okay? Because holy shit, what the hell, man? You're picking on kids who, first off, you're basing it all on that whole, well, they're using litter boxes in this high school. I heard about it from somebody who heard about it from somebody who heard about it from somebody that was told about it. No, no, really, just no. People, if you want to do stuff, if you're in positions of authority, ask the experts in that area. We've had our nice friends over there at Fur Science come on and talk with us. It'd probably be a really good idea to go ahead and do that. Talk with the experts. Leave the kids alone. Or better yet, do something nice for them. Buy them lunch. Be a far better use of the funds that go into the coffers. So with that out of the way, let's do the horrible scope. Yeah, by the way, Brigid, before I put the thing out there for the show about this, did you hear about that over there in
No,
Oklahoma? You didn't hear about that one?
no.
Yeah, it was. It's another one of those things. And guess which political party this guy is affiliated with? I'll give you 3 guesses.
GOP.
That's the one. Imagine that, right? I don't get it. I don't get it because the whole, if they start doing, anthropomorphic things, what is that? What is that? Is that putting on ears? Is it wearing a onesie with a character model on it? Is it wearing a tail? A whole bunch of people in the furry community were just like, throwing up their hands and just like, what the hell, people? The kids being kids. Shut up. Leave me alone. I don't know, man. It's weird stuff. So let's get into the horrible scopes, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes because again, it's probably going to be short. So it's time for the horrible scopes. If you know what your astrological sign is, cool. If you don't, you can just pick one. Doesn't really much matter. You need to flip a coin or roll a d12. Get that over at the nice folks over there at Heart of the Games Fredonia. Maybe they'll probably sell it to you. I don't know if they can ship it to you, but they'll sell it to you. And I just realized with the screen, like Google Doc being white, it is like super white in front of my face and lighting me up like crazy on the camera. I don't like this. I need to change that later. I've probably just not really noticed it, and it's only just shown up in my face, and it is the way that it is. Anyway, so someone, and I'm not gonna go naming names here. Someone's really trying to challenge me with suggestions for the scopes, trying to stump me with topics. Well, just to prove that I refuse to be stumpified, yes, that's a real word, I'm going with that, let's launch into this week's suggested topic. Hats. So hold on to yours because it's time to duel. Certain number of people that actually understand that reference, you're welcome. Aries, hey ladies, let's give you something classy as all hell. You might not know it by the name cloche hat, but you'll know it on sight. It's a bell-shaped woman's hat that was popular during the Roaring 20s. So this week, head to a secondhand shop and try on a flapper dress. But there are just 2 little warnings. First, it's heavier than you think it'll be. And second, it's going to cost you more than you think it will.
Taurus. We're taking you to a hard felt hat created in 1850 by Locks of St. James's, the hatters to Thomas Coke, 2nd Earl of Leicester, for his servants. So yeah, you're getting a hat fit for the help. Commonly known as a derby in the United States, your hat is also the name of a legendary restaurant. So this week, rewatch the old Little Rascals films and look for the kid in the bowler hat. That would be Stymie Beard. That hat? It was a gift from comedian Stan Laurel of Laurel and Hardy fame. So you wear yours with pride.
I told Dalan about that. He was really surprised. He had no idea. Gemini, just for you, we're taking you to school, specifically to Italian class. Da capo in Italian means the hat, but it's better than that. It's a musical term, meaning once you get to this point, go back and start at the beginning all over again. So, for this week, you're being challenged to pick up that first instrument you learned in third grade and try to play something again. Unless it was the recorder, in which case you're off the hook.
Cancer Moonchild. You're getting a pretty famous hat, though you might not know it by name. Known as the Smoky Bear hat, it's a broad-brimmed felt or straw hat with a high crown, pinched symmetrically at its four corners, what's known as the Montana crease. Your hat is officially known as the campaign hat. So this week, remember, Smokey the Bear was named for Smokey Joe Martin, a New York City Fire Department hero who suffered burns and blindness during a bold 1922 rescue. So when you put your hat on your head, give it its proper reverence.
Again, a piece of trivia I didn't know about. I always thought that it was everything had to do on the West Coast because of all the wildfires out that way. I had no idea it was New York City. Leo, let's take you all the way back to the Bronze Age and give you a beret. Sure, in modern times you could look like a military person, but really, you've got one of the oldest designs of lidwear. So this week, don't try to wear it as a cold weather hat. It's just going to blow right off your head. Unless you buckle it tighter. Really tight.
Virgo. You know, all these hats that everyone knows by sight, but almost never by name. Virgo, do you know what a bobby is? It's what they call a constable in the UK. So you're getting the custodian helmet. Yes, it's a helmet, but it's still a hat. So this week, do not learn how to speak with a British accent from Mary Poppins.
Yeah, all creatures great and small is probably a better choice. Although there are certain accents that are written there that are absolutely impossible to understand unless you're local. At least not the first time for me. Or the third time that I read through some passages, because holy shit, that was really tough. Libra? Oh, we're going to screw you up hard on this one. Surprisingly enough, it could be found in some of the southernmost islands of Japan. It's called the montera, a crocheted hat worn by bullfighters. Yeah, bullfighting was a thing in Super South Japan thanks to Spanish settlers. I bet you didn't know that. So this week, watch Bugs Bunny be a bullfighter and remember, you can't do that. He's a toon, you're not. Stick to mechanical bull riding.
Scorpio, you're getting an Australian favorite, believe it or not. It's a bush hat with a wide brim known as a kubra. It's a distinctive part of Australian culture, especially in rural areas these days. And if you pair it with an oiled canvas riding jacket, you will be the sexiest person in that county. So this week, see if the Driza Bone Company can ship you a rider heritage coat to your country yet.
Now, as somebody that has that type of hat and had a Dryzabone rider jacket for a lot of years, oh my God, was that just glorious to wear. Got a picture of me wearing that somewhere, but I'll have to find that. Sagittarius, are you going to be in a production of The Pirates of Penzance? No? Then you're going to look weird wearing a pith helmet. But we're pretty sure you know how to find a rhyme for the term hypotenuse. So this week, learn the lyrics from Major General. You're just dorky enough to remember it later.
Capricorn, it don't get much more old timey than this. You're going to be wearing a seaman's hat. No, it's not what you think. Your hat, called the boater, is a flat-brimmed, flat-topped straw hat formerly worn by public school students in the UK as part of their summer uniform. So this week, since you won't be going to a regatta or a formal garden party this week, find a 1920s schoolboy uniform to wear it with. Get a Gibson SG guitar and play Thunderstruck.
Yeah. Aquarius, we're going to make a really strong suggestion here. Only wear yours when you go in snow events. You're getting a balaclava. Now, we don't need to describe what it looks like other than to say, if you want to rob a bank, this is the hat you want to wear. So this week, remember, you are not allowed to use money you've stolen to post bond for yourself. Just hit the ski slopes instead.
Pisces, if we say grandma or brr or what do you think of? That's right, a stretched out sock pulled over your head, known in Canada as the toque. The worst part of all is that Americans can't seem to either pronounce it or spell it correctly, and maybe that's for the best. So this week, learn to sing the PBR song from Strange Brew.
I got Pepsi Blue Ribbon on my mind. Yes, I can actually hit the notes. Those are your horoscopes for this week. If you like what you got, I don't really much care, except for that one person that wants to go ahead and challenge me. Know who you are. But if you want a better, nastier one for yourself, for your own sign, or someone else's, all you need to do to bribe me is just let me know, or better yet, check out the Ko-fi page, ko-fi.com/Icarus the Lunar Guard, and I'll have these posted online at the end of the week. Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, BlueSky. Got plenty of BlueSky invites for, the few of you that still need them, before everything goes, higgledy-piggledy out there. Because, it's getting pretty close to that. It's episode 479 on the docket, Your Honor. Are you in a cult? Let's find out. Yeah, because a buddy of mine that I know, a very smart person over there, who is on, I should say, is still on Twitter, same as I am, although I have decided a long time ago that I will not be adding any new follows. I will simply prune as necessary and interact as little as possible. But he is on BlueSky as well, as am I, as is HCTV. He had a couple of things that he wrote that he admitted that the first two lines are not his, but that the last one is. What he wrote was, and again, reminding you that this first part is something that he grabbed from someone else. In a religion, your savior dies for you. In a cult, you die for your savior. His part now. The hardest thing to get used to is how fucking honest they are about that. Because it's true. If there's one thing that we've learned, how many times have we heard from cultists, cult leaders especially, who are just like, we're going to do this, and some of you are going to be hurt. But that's the price I'm willing to pay. I know, I'm stealing from Shrek, but it still is accurate. Now, this show, I really didn't want this show to be about politics in particular. Wanted it to be about religion and what it's done, especially poorly, for us societally. But unfortunately, as we've learned here in the United States especially, it is almost impossible to separate the two from at least one political party. I'm not saying that they're all brilliant groups, but there's one that is very, very specifically a Christian nationalist party with a demagogue at its head right now. For no other reason other than he's been willing to go ahead and say all the things outside that they've been trying to keep hidden on the inside. And has gone ahead and said, in so much as I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and kill him and I wouldn't lose a single vote. There have been, I forget exactly what was said, and I don't think I need to get it exactly right. There were those that were saying, also in the same group, we don't need to have masks. We don't need to shut down. All we need to do is keep doing what we're doing, and natural immunity will make everything fine. Everybody should just get back to work because it's only going to be the very young and the very infirm that'll die, and, well, they're the weak ones in the group. What's wrong with that? And there are people that followed along with it, and they're just like, yeah, perfectly reasonable, perfectly sensible. But that's exactly the kind of thing I want to do. So being on the inside of a cult, I think it's fair for us to kind of look at this and say, is this not, or is there a better example of how to ask somebody to answer the question, are you in a cult? Does this apply to you? And see if they actually answer the question. Doesn't matter if they answer it, honestly, or if they lie, if they even answer the question, they actually think about it, then answer the question. Because boy, oh boy, the more I think about it, the more I think, wow, some of these people would just be very, very uncomfortable for a very long few seconds, actually giving it serious consideration. So let's start off with the easy way. Hunt, you knew full well that this was going to be coming down with the story about Oklahoma with the GOP, and I'm pretty sure that you know full well that when I talk about a Christian nationalist political party in the United States, I'm still talking about the GQP. So we've watched some things. We've talked about the body politics here in the U.S. many a time. What kind of things, what kind of insights would you like to throw with how politics had been versus how it suddenly turned into the cult of Drumpf?
I'm not even sure how it happened. I mean, I don't see what the guy's draw is. I really don't.
I'm on board with you on that one. I'm also very much of the I don't get it. I really don't. It didn't make any kind of sense to me at the time, and it still sure as hell doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, other than the fact that the guy is basically a sociopath who is willing to say anything and everything that just spews out of his brain with no filter, and he's just got enough charisma to pull in, as he put it, the ones that he loves, the uneducated.
I don't understand the charisma bit. I don't see it.
I didn't think so either, and all of a sudden it just dawned on me. Isn't the thing in the United States, isn't one of the things that the poor, and I'm not talking about the people who are, quote unquote, lower economic class. I mean, the poor, the people who need assistance, whether they take it or not is immaterial, in need of assistance, who truly believe they're just that one lottery ticket away from Easy Street. They're just that one step away, and if only they can just make it just that one step, they're finally going to go ahead and get everything that's been owed to them because They've been downtrodden for so long. And isn't he the epitome of the dumb man's rich guy?
I don't even think he's rich.
Oh, I could almost guarantee it.
I think he's broke.
I think he's been broke. I think he's been broker than broke ever since his dad died. I mean, his dad bailed out his goddamn casino. Okay, let's just pause for just a second over here. How in the hell do you lose money running a casino? And I'm saying that because in a casino, the odds are in the favor of the house. Look at all the games of chance. The odds are in the favor of the house. They will gradually take in more money than they give out, even if it's just by 1% or even a fraction of a percent of 50%. How do you lose money with a casino? And I'm going to say this, Brigid, I actually honestly want your insight on this. How is it possible when statistics says, nah, man, you're always going to win when the day is done? How do you lose money on a casino?
I've got no idea unless he had fixed things for his friends to where they won a lot of money or something. I don't know.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I mean, okay, there are a couple of ways that a business will lose money. If you're paying out more in staff, let's just go with that. Staff, than what you're drawing in. That's going to do it. But that also is going to mean that you need to have more staff than you have people to service, who are then not dropping enough, they're not buying enough entertainment from you. I don't know how that's even possible. I mean, other than the fact that, it was in New Jersey, and, who in the hell wants to go to New Jersey? I mean, the folks in Queens, it's a day trip because, the old ladies and sound the ones who sound like Fran Drescher. Well, that's not really her. So I mean, you know what I'm talking about, the nanny voice.
I mean, I've been to Atlantic City before.
Atlantic City itself really isn't that bad. It's a tourist trap because, it's become a tourist trap after all the decades. But I mean, it's still not bad from what I remember. Sorry, I'm kind of reading over what you guys have got over there in the chat. And by the way, Mooncheeks is back. Hi. I hope the gelato was worth it. Uh, Mooncheeks had said something that is kind of important to put with it all. Those states where he has the most power are the same states where education has been cut the most. Badly educated don't know better. It's true. It's true. The quote unquote Bible Belt of the United States, going from the what used to be the Confederate States of America. Yes, I'm saying that intentionally. Through the Midwest and up through the plains and all. That has been a Republican stronghold, politically speaking. It for voting for a very long time, and the stereotype of these areas being underfunded for education. I don't know how much of that is just stereotype versus reality. I really wish I knew specifically. But I dare say, and I've said it before, stereotypes tend to be built on some measure of fact. And that really hurts. Do you have any knowledge one way or the other on where education actually is for public education in these areas?
Well, I mean, you have places like, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas that, rank down near the bottom for education. So,
So there is some level of truth, unfortunately.
yep,
Mitch McConnell's state, was
Kentucky.
that was Kentucky. Memory serves, weren't they listed as like 49th or 47th or something like that in education?
Probably.
Something like that. And reminding folks that there are 50 states, plus a couple of other territories that, of course, why give them statehood? Which, by the way, that's a whole other thing. Don't get me started on that because, yeah, thank you. Thank you. DC, Puerto Rico, yeah, that'd be nice. The fact that these areas are, I don't want to say not well funded, because don't know how much money is actually going in there, but absolutely not pulling in quality education. A, that hurts. But B, if that's an intentional, systemic way of making sure that the uneducated only work with what they've been given, that makes them part of a cult without even realizing it. Because their entire society is built on an area of, I hate to say it, dumb. And what worse is there than not knowing just how bad it actually is around you when everything is as bad as you think it is, because that's just the way that it is. And I don't like calling myself out on that. That is really personal, and I really don't feel good about that now that I said that. I'm going to blame the booze. I'm going to blame the booze for that.
Well, Indiana's about to get a whole lot worse.
Oh no. Now what?
Well, there is a bill. I don't know if it's going to get signed into law or not, but there's a bill to let kids drop out of school in 8th grade. That way they can work on farms.
At 8th grade.
Hmm.
No. No. I'm just I mean there is no other word that I can use for it. It's just no. That's, I mean, we stopped child labor for the simple reason of kids need to be kids. Kids need to grow up. Kids need to learn. I mean, we put education systems into place for exactly that reason. Okay. Okay, Brigid. Brigid, okay. Let's go ahead and dive down this one just a little bit then. An 8th grade kid. How much would they learn about do you think about well, things like Well, let's go with plant biology. Uh, Learning how to add nutrient to soil. For instance, I'm guessing most eighth graders wouldn't know very much about that, other than the whole stories about the pilgrims and their first Thanksgiving, getting taught that you plant corn and you put fish in the ground next to the corn so that it gets the nutrients and grows up well. It's about as much as I think a eighth grade kid would learn. So what's an eighth grade kid gonna learn that's gonna help them? I mean, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think there's very much of anything that they can learn. They'd learn enough from the people around them to do whatever menial tasks they can do because they're small enough to crawl into areas that the adults can't get into. That sounds about
Yep.
that sounds about the right so far. They wouldn't be able to necessarily break a bolt that was rusted because they're not going to have the strength for it. If they need to work on a piece of equipment, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to trust a kid with I'm not going to trust a kid with a 22 rifle to fend off wolves or foxes. And I'm also not going to trust a kid to run a tiller because, I mean, yeah, you're on private property. You can quote unquote drive whatever it is that you want, so long as you're not on the public roads. But I, no, no, because you and I, we know full well that in due course, there will be 8, 9, and 10-year-old kids that will suddenly become part of the soil because they were ground up into the planting system because they didn't set the parking brake correctly, or some other kid was running it and they didn't look because they didn't know, and all of a sudden kid gets carved up in the thing into the ground. Tell me that I'm wrong, right? Just tell me that I'm wrong.
I told you it could get worse.
Yeah,
And I think other kids will be allowed to work up to 40 hours a week while they're in school.
and that's a problem too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember how many hours a week I was allowed at 16 in high school. I don't remember. I think it might have been maybe 20, probably less. Because I mean, you're supposed to be in high school. And what have you got to do? Oh, right. Your job when you're in high school is to be a student. Or am I thinking of that wrong? I mean, that's just me. You're a teenager, your job is student. Then again, I'm saying that as somebody whose kid is in college, and I've told them before, your job is student. That's your job. That's what you do. Stephanie's also over here. I've read too many first-hand accounts of child labor, spelled by the way correctly with an OU. Appreciate that about you. We made that illegal in the 19th century. Yeah, I don't remember when it was stopped here. I just remember that at one point there were, I've seen pictures of kids. I mean, just kids being crammed into the service elevators to go down into the coal mines with the adults. And the kids, again, children, kids in textile work where, they're just around the industrial grade weaving machines and reading how some of these kids don't end up with all their fingers by the time they leave, 5 years later. No. And the worst part about it is, that was before we changed the way it's supposed to work. So we learned from those experiences, we changed. Societally, we changed. We put safety measures into place to make sure the kids don't have to risk their own damned lives. And they can just go to school. They can learn. Theoretically, they shouldn't have to earn money. Yeah, there have been times where kids have had to because, Great Depression. But they've learned. Some of them got some pretty damn good education. I mean, over time. But then they started whittling away on that. And now, 20, 30, 40 years later, it's finally come to be. Brigid, thinking back to Reagan, I very specifically remember in Reagan's terms. So this is putting it back into 1980 into 1984. No, sorry. 80, 84, 88? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. I remember in the early part of it how there was a lot of push for nickel and diming education budgets. It was a little bit here, it was a little bit there. It's going to be fine. You'll be able to make it up with raising local taxes just a little bit in order to make up the shortfalls and whatnot. And reminding you that I was growing up on Long Island, a suburb of suburbs outside of New York City. And I'm a kid at this point. I'm junior high, just starting in, junior high into high school. Really didn't know very much of what was going on at the world at large, but even then I knew that doesn't sound like a really good idea. I mean, why would you want to remove money from education? I mean, that's kind of important, isn't it? And I'm kind of wondering, that was really the start of it, wasn't it? I don't remember hearing that. Granted, I wasn't exactly following politics that much, but I don't remember seeing where this ticking away at the budgets for education were happening before Reagan. I'm kind of wondering if you have any specific recollection before it, or know about stories about before that?
Mm-mm.
Before Reagan, it was Jimmy Carter, who, by the way, oh, we still love you, Jimmy. We still love you. Thank you for being one of the best. The idea of him allowing education levels to be reduced, I don't think I'd ever see that happen. But then the problem is now I'm trying to remember who was before Jimmy Carter because I'm starting to get a little lost at that point.
Gerald Ford.
That's right. And Gerald Ford was Republican, wasn't he?
Yep.
And I don't remember, but for some reason I had this feeling like he was quote unquote of the old guard, you might say, where there was still the moving forward with everybody kind of thing and disagreeing on how to get there, but actually wanting to get ahead. And somehow I don't see him as also being a person that would have been specifically looking to trim education budgets.
I don't think he was.
There really was a change in there really was a sea change that happened in the 80s. Damn. We got lucky. Holy smoke, we got lucky. The education that we got lucky. Um yeah, going back a little bit over on the chat. Um Stephanie saying, you needed federal law to stop it. Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. You know, they say you can't legislate morality. This is one of those times where I'm going to disagree on that statement entirely because, yeah, forcing kids to go into labor, that's a moral question to me. That's there's no reason why that should be done. And yeah, that absolutely needed to be done. Um, Mooncheeks is also saying the cotton ginnies killed kids. Yeah. Yeah. This yeah, these tools and utilities that are designed by adults to be operated by adults. Yeah, kids just going to get killed. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Um and Blue Cheeks has also said it was a social deconstruction of what was made to improve the lives of baby boomers, being taken apart as early as the mid 70s. So yeah, I guess things were getting started that way, and yet again, oh, oh, well, now this ends up interesting in my head because Brigid, we both said we don't understand what the draw was for 45, and I just realized Reagan was also a charismatic personality who was in showbiz. Now, the only real difference between 45 and Reagan is that Reagan at least got into politics and was governor of California for a while. So he did have experience in politics. But I'm kind of wondering, because now that you said it, why? Just like with you, why? Why get people who had name recognition for something much other than politics? Because again, we had Ronald Reagan, who was an actor, pretty famous actor. 45 for TV. Okay, you know, whatever. Sonny Bono. Why he got into politics? Don't know. I mean, yeah, he could have still done the music scene, but there were oh god, I forgot what the hell his name was, but one of the guys that was an actor from The Love Boat, as I recall, He also got into politics in California. Congress critter, I think, at the state level. I forget exactly, but I mean, it's so weird. Dr. Oz. He okay. I don't want to call him doctor anymore because that just leaves bile in my face. He wanted to be in politics, and he got railed for it, and good for him. And football, I don't want to call him a star, but I mean, people who are now who are well known for being in sports, specifically because they had name. Is that the MO for the GOP? Just find somebody that's got a recognizable name and just pull people in around a name instead of somebody who's trying to do good for a community and then pull people in for the event instead of the name. Is that really what I'm is that really what I'm seeing after all this time? I mean, you see where I'm going on this, right?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's true. Again, also Republican.
Yep.
So I'm really wondering, is that really what it is that's happened with the Republican Party? That it's just become cults of personality instead of really trying to do what's good for the country, people, as opposed to, hey, let's just elect a name that we recognize. This is really annoying for me to think about it because that means that to in my head, that means to me that the whole idea of reducing educational parameters, educational levels, better choice, is a known systemic degradation of the societal good because it's intentionally lowering the knowledge base. It's intentionally lowering the number of people who are well informed to make better choices, who then get roped into just following the same old of, I know that name. That name must be good. And I really do think that maybe, now that I've thought about it in that respect, maybe that's the entirety of what the Republican Party has become. That they're just banking on exactly that. If we can find a name that's recognized, we run the name. Doesn't matter what they know what they're doing, we run the name because the names are recognized, so pull in the people. And if we keep people stupid, they won't go looking into, well, what does it really mean? Am I wrong? Am I looking at this the wrong way? Sadly, I'm going to ask, am I maybe thinking about this right? You got to give
I
me
think back.
something. You get
I
me. You get
think
me
back to
worried.
the movie. I think back to that movie, Idiocracy.
Oh my God, that hurts.
That's where we're at.
The worst part about that is I can say that you're right because the footwear that they used in Idiocracy was supposed to be intentionally to make it look like people were just looking for just whatever's the most comfortable thing in the world that's just dumb as all hell to look at. Those are Crocs. Go ahead, folks. Look up the movie Idiocracy and look at the footwear. Those were Crocs. And now we have Croc designs that are supposed to be cowboy boots, but as Crocs. But what you're saying about how it's kind of the middle of Idiocracy right now, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Yeah. Yeah. The scene, okay, you know well enough. And folks, the movie's been out for a very long time. So if you're gonna worry about spoilers at this point, you know what? I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube. Watch it free with ads. Just watch it. You remember the scene where I don't remember what the guy's name was. Goes to try to talk to the doctor, who is this young guy that really doesn't know what in the hell he's doing. And he's got this panel of just buttons that are supposed to go with different symptoms that are listed and supposed to hit whatever to try to come up with a diagnosis, and it's all run by the computer after that. Which is, there are some things to be said for that design overall, but be that as it may, where I'm thinking about it is when the quote unquote specialists, the experts in fields, become that, and forgive me, stupid, ignorant, poorly educated on a topic. When those are the experts in a field, and they're the ones that are trusted, but the ones that actually are knowledgeable in a field are the ones that are distrusted, you're right. In a lot of ways, this is exactly the circus mirror that we're into right now. That sucks. Mooncheeks also pointed out, I love Crocs. Be kind to Croc wearers. Some of us can't wear quote unquote shoes because of infirmary. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. My problem is that this group was tasked with coming up with what's going to be the dumbest piece of footwear possible for the general populace to wear. And now the general populace is wearing it. I mean, I've seen what uh, patients can wear to help them get around in hospitals and whatnot. The nice puffy socks with the grippy bottoms. So I got no problem with that. It's just the rationale for making them and what they've turned into is just kind of got me on. In any case, um, and Felix is right. A dumb population is easier to control. It's not a surprise to me that people in Europe are absolutely amazed at how little we Americans know about the rest of the world because we don't go visit it. Because we can't. Because we don't have enough money to be able to do that. And yet, those of us that were lucky enough to be able to do that, because we got lucky, we have a tendency of being able to look at stuff and go, huh, well, these two things don't exactly equate up with each other. What's the better? Let's work towards that. And sometimes that's bringing stuff back over from, well, Europe, for instance, or Japan. You know what? Perfect example, Japan. When my wife and I got the chance to go to Japan, and this is going to 99, one of the things that I did not know about before we got over there was that when people are sick, got like a cold, something low grade that, you don't need to stay home for, but you do kind of have to get out in order to do stuff. They wore masks in public. They would walk around. They would have, you know, uh, fabric masks on their faces, and it was an indication to, warn people that they were sick, so that, give them a wider berth, but also to make sure that if they coughed or they sneezed, didn't go anywhere. It was just piece of culture. You just did it. So then when that happened over here with the big bad a couple years ago, everybody threw everything through a big old hissy fit. Absolutely blew my mind. Oh, and Brigid, you can tell me this a little bit better. The masks that we've gotten now for the big bad that had ended up happening, the ones that I got are the KN95s, and you've said good pieces. They're
Mhm.
not they're not square across the face, kind of the way that we would have otherwise seen, all these surgical masks for MASH, perfect example.
Mhm.
And I've always thought that that overall design was kind of what was, typically always used for, surgical stuff, as opposed to the ones now that I wear, where they're like this conical shape off of my face, to a sideways bill, I would say, in front of my face. Which ones would actually be better at preventing transmission of anything from the person wearing the mask? Or does it even really much matter?
Well, I mean, the best ones would be an N95, but anything's better than nothing.
This is true. This is true. So for a like an operational theater, do they actually use something that's like, well, not necessarily square, but like rectangular, or would they be using something that would have a what I would think to be a tighter fit, kind of the same ones that we would wear outside now? Or am I just thinking of it completely wrong, and I'm just watching ER too many times or something?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I always wore surgical masks. Um, Actually, no, that's not true. I wore something that was close to an N95, but the military had stricter standards than other places do.
Yeah, yeah, there is that. Because if nothing else, you use a couple of extra cents worth of product to prevent $1,400 worth of recovery time. Yeah, it's kind of worth it, and you think about it in those terms. God, you know, at least with the military, Yeah, there's a lot of just follow directions. I know for well that that's, there's a lot of that. But eventually there actually is mechanisms for learn why things are done the way that they're done. It may take a while for somebody to get to that, and maybe you need to go through a different program in order to get to it, like, officer training. But at least there is the opportunity of learning. I mean, hell, even the military. Wait, do they still have the quote unquote GI Bill for getting people into college after they put in like 4 or 8 years or whatever?
As far as I know, yeah.
Because even they recognize that it's worth getting the education. They won't sign anybody up until they're at least 18.
Right.
But you also do have to have your high school diploma, no?
Yep. Or GED.
Somehow, I don't think that an 8th grader is going to be able to drop out and get a GED.
Nope.
So, yeah. So, in order to try to figure out, are you in a cult? You really have to look at a bunch of different things. Which means that if you're on the inside of it, you have to be able to evaluate the questions. Are you going to be the one to die for your leader, or is your leader going to be the one to die for you? You know what? We get to this point of the night, and now I'm really wondering, is it even possible after a certain point to be able to evaluate that? Because after thinking about some of this stuff, I don't know if it's even properly plausible to be able to know one way or the other, to be able to figure it out for yourself, because there's a lot. There's a lot that you're just not taught. And how can you evaluate on something that you've never been taught? Here I thought that an opportunity of really talking through stuff and coming to a decent conclusion. But now that we've gotten here and I've talked through this, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about this. Partly because I I know full well that it's almost impossible for these people in affected areas of substandard education to be able to understand, to be able to know, because how can you think on stuff that you're intentionally ignorant of? Sorry, rephrasing. Intentionally made ignorant of. That's what I'm trying to get at. Because there's no way getting around that until you get out. Can't evaluate it. Can't do anything about it because you don't know that there's anything to be done. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to say it then. Something I normally wouldn't have. As much as we detest what the Republican Party has done over the last 10 years, let's say, over our lifetimes, the damage that they have done to this country is simply incalculable by that idea. Because if they have been intentionally whittling away at the educational system that has been servicing the population and intentionally keeping these people from learning, that damage is simply incalculable. And I do not say that as hyperbole. There's no way to know just how bad it's been. I'm just going to say it right now. All you guys in the Republican Party that have been a party of this for my lifetime and more, a whole bunch of you just can go fuck yourselves for what you've done. God. And I can't even blame it on the alcohol because it's not enough to make me feel bad or angry or anything like that. The reality of this, damn. I hate nights like this that make me feel like this because god damn it, I did it to my own damn self by actually thinking about stuff. Why don't you tell me to stop thinking about stuff and make me feel better? Why don't you do that to me?
I can't do that. I guess it was my fault for bringing up the 8th grade thing here.
No. No. That, I mean, as much as I don't like feeling like this, better that you gave me that, because I wouldn't have really thought about it. I really hadn't been thinking about the whole, let kids be in the workplace like that. Hell, never mind the whole 8th grade, get out of school kind of thing. I had no idea about that. That's bullshit.
Yeah, we have elders here too. Which further takes money away from the public schools.
Yep. Stephanie has got it right. If they could figure things out, they would not have fallen for the lies in the first place. All you need to do is just have that nice, slow curve to finally get them onto the trajectory that you want. And then once it's on that trajectory and they can't get away from it, it's the slow con, man. It's the long, slow game. I hate it. I hate it a lot. Nothing to be done about it right now. Except, perhaps, I don't want to say it this way, but I'm going to say it this way anyway. Vote the entire blue ticket. I know. We get down into the politic thing, and we keep trying to say, we don't care who you vote for, just vote. You know what? This year that's out the window. That's out the window. You want to vote for people to learn, for people to be safe, for kids not to have to lose limbs and die a black lung? Yep. Yeah. We'll see that plays out. We'll just do one more thing really quickly, and then we'll get our collective butts out of here. Because it was mentioned, Brigid, I'm sure that you've been hearing that there are various different um, various different uh, court appearances that are happening for Trump et al. Very specifically, the defamation case right now with Eugene Carroll. You heard that that stupid son of a bitch has just continuously and continuing to keep defaming the lady, even through after court has let out for the day while this
Yep.
is all going on.
Yep.
You remember what phase of the court process they're currently in? What they're trying to what they're trying to hash out?
Monetary damages.
Yep. So I would like to know when Miss Carroll's lawyer, I think it was her lawyer, basically said, "How much do we want? We don't have a dollar figure. We just want there to be a deterrence for this person who is a self-proclaimed billionaire, so that it hurts and it helps him to think twice about ever doing this again." I'm highly paraphrasing, but you basically know that that's what was said, right?
Yeah.
So since I mean you know he's probably worthless at this point. I know he's probably worthless at this point, but he claims to be a billionaire. So how much of somebody's worth do you think they should have to pay in damages to help bring somebody's reputation back from the destruction that you push him into, and to prevent to give somebody pause to think maybe I shouldn't do this again because this is probably going to hurt more? How much of that $1 billion do you think should probably be thrown out of their coffers into somebody else's?
I think a lot more than what she's asking for.
And do you have any
They're
recollection?
asking they're asking for 10 million this time.
I'm thinking that's also probably low.
It's really low.
I think it's probably low. And I think probably doubling that is probably a good start. Oh, I'm sorry. When I said double, I meant adding a zero to the whole thing. Maybe not exactly double. 100 million probably would be a really good way of telling somebody, don't do that again, because I mean that wouldn't be so bad. It's only 1% of somebody's overall net worth if they're a billionaire. I mean, they'll make that back in interest in what, a month, maybe two, maybe three. I mean, it's one of those things, right? I mean, what's 1% of somebody's worth really? Go open up their wallet. What do you got? You got a $20 bill. Well, that's all right. 1% of that is that's 20 cents. Yeah, give you 20 cents. Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be so bad, right? It wouldn't hurt that much, right?
It shouldn't.
Mm. Then again, considering how he keeps doing the same thing over and over and over again that he's been found guilty of doing already, I think it's probably safe for the judge and the jury to go ahead and go, yeah, you're right. He did keep doing it, and he did keep doing it, and he did keep doing it. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that unrepentant and needs to be hit really hard. I think that's a really good idea. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see. But then again, we got all these other court appearances that can't wait for, and one of them's going to be coming up on my birthday. So I'm looking forward to that one, assuming that it doesn't get pushed. I'm still waiting for. Anybody that's wondering, yes, March 4th. I'm still waiting. Still waiting for that to have happen. Hoping. So if you want to buy me anything for my birthday, you got a little bit of time yet. So there you go. Keep that in mind. No, I don't want a hat. I don't need a hat. You know what? Maybe next week I'll wear my duster hat. You know what? Maybe I'll do that. I probably should have thought to bring that over. We'll keep for it. We'll keep for it. Whatever. I don't have very much of anything else that's really worth going into. You got anything that you want to throw out there, like the something about the Satanic Temple opening up a new thing and freaking people out there in California again?
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, the school district out there in California made the announcement before TST was ready to go ahead and do it, and they're just like, "Well, cat's out of the bag. Yep, we've got a new stuff. We got a new one that's going to be starting in California, and you can sign up for it now." And it's like, oh shit. Well, it's California. I guess we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Because yeah, over some of the other places, they're freaking people out again. But then people are going, and they're just like, I mean, eh. I love how it turns into a non-issue after a little while. Either that or they shut it all down, which either way is good with me. You've still got your copy of the activity book, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. They've got that on their website to sell, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, folks, if you want to help out the Satanic Temple and the After School Satan Club, go and buy their activity book from them. It's a couple of bucks. It's a PDF. Yeah, it's worth it. Actually, I don't remember if it was. They had it free for a while, which is how I got mine. But I don't think that we're allowed to just trade them out and give them away. But at the same time, a couple of bucks to help them out. Nothing wrong with that. They're good people. They're good people. Anyway, oh, well, I wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for Stephanie. Tech, you made it just in the nick of time. I was just about ready to go ahead and close this up. How you doing?
Sorry. I was. I'm still getting over being sick. I'm still sick technically. Just different problems now. No, I was on with my my son. He and I were spending some quality time.
No, fair enough.
Yeah. Satanic Temple coloring book's only $7.50, and you get the PDF and print out a couple copies and bring it to school. Put it in your child's color lunchbox.
That'd be cool. So, since we were just about to close up shop, yeah, that was like one of the last things that ended up coming over here. I'll hit you really briefly because I'm kind of wondering what I opened about was the funkiness going on over there in Oklahoma with the lawmaker doing the whole thing about kids being furries in
Oh, that fucking idiot.
Well, we're right at the end of the show, so sure, yeah, you want to drop the F-bomb now, that's fine.
Yeah. It had to come from a Republican. Because nobody on the Democratic side is going, oh, kids who like to pretend that they're a cat or a dog or a fire truck. By the way, I'm not making fun of furries or trans people or anything else. As a kid, We used to pretend that we were fire and rescue. One kid wanted to be the fire truck. One kid wanted to be the helicopter. I mean, we're talking anthropomorphizing stuff that we see in child's cartoons today, you know, like the movie Cars, you know,
Mhm.
and all in the movie Airplanes and so on. We see this stuff. I'm not saying this leads a kid to be a furry, because that's not the case. But having a child who has an imagination is not a harmful thing. Everybody needs an Uncle Buck. Okay. Because when you have these rigid idiots who think that children with imaginations are a bad thing, then you have an adult who should not be in charge of children at all, in any way, shape, and form. Not a parent, not a caregiver, not a babysitter, nothing. Because if you're not doing everything that you can to encourage a child's imagination when they're at that special age where their imaginations run wild, then you're setting them up to fail as a human being. You're also ruining one of the most magical times of their life. You know, they don't have very long, especially in today's society here in the US. They don't have a large gap of magical moments. And the kind of mysticism that religions and cults bring is not the kind of magic that I'm talking about. Screw that noise. As far as I'm concerned, religion is just a cult that's been organized better and gets a tax write-off when they should.
See, Brigid, the whole thing that we had earlier about kids going into being allowed to go into heavy labor at 8th grade. Yeah,
Yeah.
real magical right there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we ended
I
up hitting on
mean,
that too. So we'll just make it
and you
really
know,
quick, though.
and we can see how caring Republicans how much they really care about children. If we take a look at Kentucky, oh, Kentucky,
Yeah, we talked about
Kentucky,
that too.
yeah, nothing like legalizing, sexual intercourse with your first cousin as long as they're the age 13 or up, because that's what's important. Not finding people jobs who are jobless, not finding homes for people who are homeless, not for feeding people who are hungry. The kind of shit that Jesus would do. No, can't do that. They're too busy having sex with their own family or trying to legalize
Hey,
it.
if it was good enough for if it was good enough for the movie Gladiator, it's good enough for us in real life, right?
God.
Oh God, that was his sister. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, that wasn't a first cousin. They haven't legalized immediate siblings yet. I say yet because I'm willing to. I don't bet money for most things. Like, I'll bet, if I'm wrong, I'll make you dinner because I know how to cook. Or if I'm wrong, I'll wash your car. If I'm wrong, I do that kind of stuff. But I think this is one of those few times where I could safely say I'd put down $100 that I'd be willing to bet that some legislature somewhere in one of these states, like Kentucky, there's going to be a Republican who's going to put forth legislation. Maybe not this year, maybe not next. Sometime while I'm still alive, they're going to put down legislation trying to legalize sex and marriage between immediate siblings.
That's you know what? I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this one, but
I mean, if
I'm
Pornhub's any indicator, of the kind of favorite porn that people watch, between the gay stuff that out in Ohio in the Mormon area.
I'm gonna get away with this one just this once because
Go for it.
I'm sorry, but the idea that they would legislate stuff here that would make us closer to the aristocracy of England again, I really don't see that as being a really good idea. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. It was just low laying fruit right there. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. All right.
On the British baking show, the children's edition, they had a girl on there and they asked her about the monarchy, and she just badmouthed them, and everybody else is going, "Whoa!" It was like, no, that's called freedom of speech.
Is that also the same one where a girl was having a really, 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 really hard time opening up a bottle, and she ran over to the side and lifted it up. Her dad popped it open and gave it back to her, and she went back to her station. I'm pretty sure that's the same one, right?
It might be the same show, but I'm not sure if it's the same episode.
Probably not, but I get that.
No,
Yeah.
the Republicans, the Republican Party of today is telling us exactly what they want. They want to legalize incest. They want to legalize rape. They want to make it mandatory that if a woman has sex or a young girl has sex, that they have to give birth, even if it kills them. They want as many babies as possible to go to war, but they don't want to pay anything or fund anything for after the living ones get back and are traumatized or deformed or missing body parts or whatever. They're injured. They don't want to do anything to help them out. They don't care about our education system because as long as their kids are getting the Yale or Harvard or whatever that they're paying oodles and oodles of money for, screw everybody else because nobody else matters. Because if anybody else mattered, they wouldn't be poor or they wouldn't be middle class. We Anybody else who disagrees with me, honestly, you're either drinking the Kool-Aid or you have buried your head in the sand at this point.
Or both.
Yeah, you might have done both. Might have drank the Kool-Aid and buried your head in the sand. This is not me hating on Republicans because they're Republicans. This is not me hating on Christians because they're Christians. Okay? I have my truck with religion. Okay? But it doesn't matter if you're an atheist or a Christian. If you are supporting the people who are trying to literally take away um, human rights, bringing back child labor, trying to and when I say child labor, I mean it in both respects, both pregnancy and physical hardship.
Yeah, we had that one.
Yeah. It, if you're voting in favor of those people just because, oh, they say abortion's bad, you drank the Kool-Aid. You really did. You drank the Kool-Aid, and until you take those blinders off, we can't help you. Nobody can help you. You have to take those blinders off yourself. And there was an actual piece written by a Christian person who was at a fundamental church and basically is being ostracized by their church now because uh, they saw the, their church doing things that were less and less and less and less and less Christ-like compared to what they were taught growing up about Christ and what Christ's message was. And when they started trying to talk about these things, oh, why are you making waves? Why are you being one of them? You've got to vote Republican or else. You've got to vote this way or else. You've got to behave this way or else. Why don't you sit down and shut up? Those sorts of things. And that's what happens to everybody who stands up and challenges anything. You notice if you go in with a group of Democrats, hold on. If you go in with a group of Democrats and you talk about a controversial subject, you might have some very angry conversations, but you're having a conversation. That's the difference.
Fair enough.
That's what I will end on in a short period of time for you guys.
That works because, yeah, now's about that point. So, Brigid, did you have anything left, or is that pretty well good?
I'm good.
We'll go ahead. We're going to wrap it up.
I do have one thing I have to
Make
get out there.
Make it brief.
It's brief. It's to the anybody who's not part of the Republican side, anybody who's on the other side, whether it's Democrat, moderates, independent, whatever. When you hear something you don't like, have a conversation. Don't scream and shout. If you scream and shout at the person, you have no chance of changing that person's perspective or their mind or their thoughts or anything. You have to be civil. As much as it pains you, as much as it pains me, I can't shout anymore because it does no good.
That's fair. That's fair. So go ahead and call it a night because, well, now's about a good time as any. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. We hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and got something to think about for the week ahead. Over in the chat, Stephanie, I'm sorry. I know I was trying to make it funny with the aristocracy. I know the whole sister wife thing. I know that was a long time ago for keeping everybody from fighting each other. I know. You know where I was going on. Anyway, thank you again. Please stay safe out there. Stay warm. Mooncheeks, thank you. I did catch a lot of the stuff that you were saying, and screw you too while we're at it. And Felis, again, also, stay safe, stay warm out there, hey? Appreciate it. Tech, I'm glad we both said before we got started with the show, hope that you were able to make it even just a little bit. So you take care of yourself, would you please? I was a little worried.
Yeah. What I have now is not COVID. It's nasty, but it's just lingering, and I have medication for it. So if it's still lingering by the end of the medication, I go back to the doctor and they give me something stronger.
Fair enough. Take care of yourself, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying. Doing the best I can.
Brigid, it's cold. I have to assume it doesn't help your mood whatsoever. Who deserves to be yelled at from you for tonight?
Elise Stefanik.
Do tell, why perhaps would Ms. Stefanik perhaps require being told to shove everything up her ass?
For calling E. Jean Carroll a liar.
Thank you. One of many, apparently, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm totally on board with you. And as a big ol' thumbs up, I would like to congratulate that one judge who's showing so much restraint and saying, look, this is Court 101. You should already know how to do this. Cut it out. There's some people that are kind of wondering in the future what all's it all got to do with. It's all still with E. Jean Carroll. Just trust me, it's funny for us now in this time. Later, it's not going to be so much fun, but maybe it will. Don't know. So we'll call it a night. Thanks for being with us, everybody. You take care of yourselves. If you'd like to be in touch with us, please take a swing over to the webpage, holycrapthevlogcast.com. I will keep trying to pay for that as long as I can. Things are a little hanky right now. I don't think I've got a problem with paying for it, but I'll let you know if there's any kind of a worry that I have to worry about right now with that. Hopefully it won't be. However, the voice line is still available and still free, so you can still go ahead and try to use that. I'll make it do one more go round. 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554. All of our contact information is at the webpage. The voice version of the podcast is available there when we get around to it. And past that, I don't remember what else is supposed to be said right now because I'm a little tired. It's been a tiring week for me, so it is what it is. As a reminder, next week is a Power 10. So if you've got something you want to bitch about, that's going to be the time to do it, because we're going to do it, because that's what it's set up for. And we've been saving up a whole 8, 9, 10, 11. Shoot, it's been like 12 weeks almost? Yeah, because I had a couple of weeks I had to turn off. We're primed, baby. It's so write down the stuff that you want to go ahead and go through, and we'll see about going through that. Other than that, For those of you that have to be dealing with sub-freezing weather, please be careful. Don't want to be driving sideways by accident. Please be safe and careful. I cannot stress that enough. Maybe one of these days I'll take a video of what it's like for me going down or up the hill where I live, because that gets a little hair-raising at times. Keep that in mind. We'll be with you again next week. And again, just thank you for being with us. So as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And my lady, it is too many damned years later, and I am still in love. Atene Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone, as always, good night.